You can spend thousands on a beautiful dining table, carefully select chairs that look perfect in the showroom, and still end up with a room that feels like a furniture catalog display, or worse, like a waiting room at a budget hotel. The most ridiculous dining room mistakes aren't about how much money you spend. They're about proportion, placement, and design decisions that quietly sabotage the entire space without you realizing it. According to interior designers surveyed in 2025, the dining room is the one space where people most often default to what they think it should look like, rather than creating a space that actually works for how they live. In this video, we break down the 7 mistakes that are quietly making dining rooms look cheap across America. Mistakes that have nothing to do with your budget and everything to do with understanding how design actually works. And more importantly, we'll show you exactly what to do instead. Most people live with dining rooms that look wrong for years without ever understanding why. The good news is, once you see how these spaces actually work, you cannot unsee it. If you do not want to be one of them, subscribe and hit like and hype. Let's start with what designers consistently call the #1 most common dining room mistake: the rug that's way too small. According to Havenly's professional design team, rug mistakes are by far the most frequent issue they see in dining rooms. And it's not just about aesthetics, it's about function and safety. Here's what happens when your dining room rug is too small. Every time someone pulls out a chair, the back legs catch on the edge. The chair tips backward. It feels wobbly and unstable. Over time, this damages both the rug edges and your floor underneath. But there's another problem nobody talks about. A rug that's too small actually makes your room look smaller. It creates visual fragmentation. Your eye sees the rug as a tiny island floating in a sea of floor, and the whole space feels disconnected and unfinished. And unfinished always reads as cheap. The rule professional designers follow: your dining rug should extend at least 24 inches, that's 60 centimeters, beyond the table edge on all sides where chairs are placed. Many designers actually recommend 30 to 36 inches, 76 to 91 centimeters, if you have the space. Why these specific numbers? When you pull a chair back to sit down, you need 18 to 24 inches of clearance behind you. If the rug doesn't extend far enough, the chair legs end up half on, half off, which is both uncomfortable and visually jarring. The math: if your table is 72 inches long by 36 inches wide, which is a standard 6-person table, add at least 48 inches to each dimension. That's minimum an 8 by 10 foot rug. For comfort, 9 by 12 is better. When shopping, if you're between sizes, always go larger. Dining rooms absolutely punish rugs that are even slightly too small. There's no close enough here. And always choose low pile or flat weave materials. High pile rugs trap food crumbs like magnets and make chairs extremely difficult to slide in and out, which defeats the entire purpose of having a rug in this space. Second mistake affects both function and feel: hanging your chandelier at the wrong height. When a chandelier hangs too high, it feels disconnected, like it's floating in space, unrelated to the dining experience below. The light scatters upward instead of creating that warm pool over your meal. But hang it too low, and guests bump their heads. Conversations feel blocked. Research published in PubMed Central shows lighting significantly impacts our psychological state, affecting mood and how we perceive food. Getting this wrong literally changes how people experience your dining room. The rule: for standard 8-foot ceilings, about 2.4 meters, the bottom of your chandelier should hang 30 to 36 inches, 76 to 91 centimeters above the tabletop. This range exists for specific reasons: low enough to create intimacy and illuminate the table properly, but high enough that you can see across to the person opposite you without obstruction. For higher ceilings, add 3 inches, about 7.5 centimeters, for every additional foot of ceiling height. So for a 10-foot ceiling, aim for 36 to 42 inches above the table. For a 12-foot ceiling, 42 to 48 inches. Size matters too. Your chandelier diameter should be half to 2/3 the table width, roughly 12 inches narrower. A 42-inch table pairs with about a 30-inch chandelier. Designer trick: tie a balloon to a string at your planned height. Leave it there for several days. Sit at the table at different times of day. Have real conversations with family. You'll know immediately if it feels right or completely wrong. Third mistake might surprise you because for decades it was considered the correct way to furnish a dining room: buying a complete matching furniture set. From the 1980s through the 1990s, formal dining rooms were treated like museum exhibits. You'd walk into a furniture store, choose a collection, and buy the table, chairs, china cabinet, and sideboard, all matching. It felt sophisticated and complete. But here's what designers are unanimously saying in 2026: that perfectly matched look now reads as dated, generic, and frankly, cheap. Designer Rebecca Murphy explains, heavy matching furniture sets are losing steam because they don't reflect how people actually live today. Designer Laura Brophy puts it directly: a completely matching dining set almost always makes a room feel dated. The core problem: when everything matches too perfectly, it looks like you bought everything in one trip without any thought. It feels staged and impersonal, like a showroom display or a floor model at a discount furniture warehouse. Our brains appreciate spaces that feel collected over time, that signals authenticity and personal curation. A matching set signals mass production and conformity. The fix is intentional variety. Mix materials thoughtfully. Pair a wood table with upholstered chairs in different fabric. Add sculptural lighting. Mix chair styles. Armchairs at the heads, armless along the sides. Paint a sideboard in a different finish from your table. As Vinterior's forecasters describe, there's growing appetite for pieces that look like they've been thoughtfully chosen over time rather than delivered all at once. The goal is curated, not chaotic; personal, not showroom perfect. Your dining room should look like it evolved, like pieces were chosen deliberately over years, not delivered all at once from a single truck. Error 4 affects every single meal you eat, yet most people don't know it exists: wrong proportion between chair height and table height. Ever sat at a table feeling like you're hunching over your plate or reaching up awkwardly to your food? That discomfort isn't random. It's a proportion problem with a specific solution. When the height relationship between chair seat and tabletop is wrong, everything feels off. You can't maintain good posture. Your knees bump the underside. You feel cramped or stretched. The rule: you need 10 to 12 inches, 25 to 30 centimeters, between the top of your chair seat and the underside of your tabletop. The underside, not the top. Many tables have aprons or decorative elements underneath that reduce clearance. The math: standard tables are 28 to 30 inches high, about 71 to 76 centimeters. Standard chairs are 17 to 19 inches, about 43 to 48 centimeters. A 30-inch table minus an 18-inch chair equals 12 inches clearance. Perfect. The cushion factor. Nobody mentions: upholstered chairs compress 1 to 2 inches when you sit. A chair measuring 20 inches in the store might function as 18 inches with your weight on it. Factor this in. Armchair warning: arms need to fit under your table or apron. Many beautiful armchairs look perfect in showrooms, but won't slide under at home, forcing you to sit too far away. The fix: measure from floor to the absolute bottom of your table. Subtract 10 to 12 inches. That's your target seat height. The table that doesn't fit the room. Fifth mistake is about the relationship between table and room, getting size wrong in either direction. A table too large creates claustrophobia. Chairs scrape walls. Guests can't pull out seats without bumping furniture. The space feels suffocating no matter how beautiful the pieces. But a table too small creates the opposite. The room feels empty and awkward. The table floats in nowhere, disconnected from the architecture. Both extremes look cheap, overcrowded, or sparse and incomplete. The clearance rules: minimum 36 inches, 91 centimeters, between table edge and any wall or furniture. This allows chairs to be pulled out and people to walk behind seated diners. but 36 is the bare minimum. For comfortable circulation, especially if people walk behind while others are seated, you want 42 to 48 inches, 107 to 122 centimeters. The formula: measure your room's length and width, subtract 6 feet from each dimension. That's your maximum table size. Example: a 14 by 10 foot room fits a table no larger than 8 by 4 feet. The opposite rule: don't go so small that there's more than 6 feet from table to wall, otherwise the table looks lost. The fix: tape dimensions on your floor, including clearance zones. Live with it for days. Walk the paths. You'll feel whether it works. Remember, each person needs 24 inches, 60 centimeters, of width for comfortable dining. A table that seats 6 on paper might only comfortably seat 4 if chairs are wide or have arms. Always count your actual chairs, not the theoretical maximum. Error 6 addresses the wall behind your table, the natural focal point that's usually completely wasted. This wall is what guests see when they sit down. It's the backdrop for every meal, every conversation. But in most homes, it's either blank, which reads as unfinished and cold, or decorated incorrectly. 3 common mistakes. Art hung too high. The center should be at eye level, 57 to 60 inches from the floor, or 145 to 152 centimeters. But in dining rooms, people are sitting. For dining specifically, many designers recommend lower, around 54 to 57 inches for seated viewers. Wrong scale. Tiny art on a large wall looks lost and timid. Art should be 2/3 to 3/4 the width of the furniture beneath it. Nothing at all. A blank wall signals I haven't finished decorating or I didn't know what to put here. The fix: multiple options, large-scale art that anchors the space. An intentional gallery wall with composition, not random frames scattered. A mirror that reflects candlelight beautifully. A sideboard with curated objects, but remember, furniture needs 36 inches clearance from the table. The key is intention. Whatever you choose should feel deliberate, proportional, and visually connected to the rest of the room. This wall is your opportunity to make a real statement. Final mistake transforms even beautiful dining rooms into something institutional, relying on a single overhead light as your only illumination. When you have just one light, even a gorgeous chandelier, directly over the table, you create the interrogation room effect. Harsh shadows across faces, corners disappearing into darkness. The space feels flat, cold, and uninviting. Restaurants use candles, sconces, and accent lighting because layered light creates intimacy. It makes food appealing and faces warmer. A single overhead signals function over feeling, office over home. The solution: 3 layers. Ambient, your chandelier, but on a dimmer so you can control intensity for different occasions. Accent, wall sconces on either side of your focal wall. Candles on the table, a lamp on your sideboard. These create pools of warm light that add depth and dimension. Task: if your dining room doubles as workspace, which many do now, consider a floor lamp for focused light when needed. The most important upgrade you can make: put your chandelier on a dimmer switch. This single, relatively inexpensive change completely transforms the room's versatility. Bright for homework and casual family dinners. Low and warm for romantic evenings and dinner parties. It's genuinely one of the highest impact, lowest cost upgrades you can make to any room in your home. The dining room is where life's most important moments happen. Celebrations and ordinary Tuesday dinners, deep conversations and comfortable silences, holiday gatherings and everyday meals that somehow become core memories. But if your rug is too small, your chandelier feels disconnected, your furniture matches like a catalog page, your chairs don't fit properly, your proportions fight the room, your focal wall sits blank, and harsh light flattens everything, you're not creating a space for genuine connection. You're creating a space that quietly tells everyone who enters something here just isn't quite right. The good news? Every single one of these mistakes can be fixed, and often without buying anything new at all. It's fundamentally about measuring, adjusting, and thinking intentionally about how the space actually works for real people. Because great design has never been about following trends or spending more money than your neighbors. It's about understanding the timeless rules that make spaces feel right, and then making them genuinely your own. Which of these mistakes surprised you the most? Or is there a dining room error you think should have made this list? Let me know in the comments below. And if you found this video helpful, you know exactly what to do. If after this video your dining room feels different to you, then it worked. Subscribe and hit like. This channel is not about spending more, it is about seeing what others miss. And if you want to avoid the most ridiculous design crimes that make your home look cheap in 2026, continue with the next brutal video on screen.